are you doing bringing that stuff here now? Can't you read the clock? It's almost quitting time.
Hey, I just do what I'm told to do, Jackson. You want answers to questions? Ask Soames. He runs this dump, not me. Hey, last day, huh, Tommy?
Yeah, and if I never see this place again, it'll be too soon.
What's going on here? What do you guys think you're doing?
Nothing, Mr. Soames.
I can see that, you dummy. But that isn't what I'm paying you to do. Now get this truck moving, and you two get this stuff stacked, now.
Yes, sir. Payday. The only day better than Saturday, Sundays, and holidays.
No doubt about it. I've got a good check coming, too. Soames held back my first week's pay, so he owes me for 3 weeks and a lot of overtime.
Smith. Rutledge. Jackson. Klein. Thompson.
What's the matter, Tommy?
My check's not right. I've got a lot more than this coming.
Are you sure?
Mr. Soames, I think someone's made a mistake on my check.
Well, there's no mistake, Rutledge. Andrews. Anderson. Bostwick.
But this is only half what it should be. There's got to be a mistake.
There's no mistake. You did a boy's work. I paid you a boy's wages. I should have been doing it all summer. Remember, you're only 15, and you don't have a work certificate from the state. You should be glad I'm paying you anything. Now beat it.
I worked as hard as anybody here, and you know it.
I said beat it. Get out of here.
This isn't fair. You owe me more money.
Take your hand off my arm.
I need that money.
You stupid little punk. You don't know when you're well off, do you?
Come on, Mr. Soames. What are you doing? He's just a kid.
Butt out, Jackson. This is none of your business.
Hey, look, I don't know if you owe him more money or not, but you shouldn't rough him up like this.
You're fired, Jackson. Get out of here. And you take that check and get out of here with him right now.
But
I said right now.
you can keep this check. I want what you owe me. Come on, Jackson, let's get out of here. You owe me money, Soames! I want my money!
You're a creep, Soames! I want
Burdette.
money, Soames! Give me my money! Soames,
Johnson.
creep. You can't fire me! I quit! Hey, what are you doing? No, don't do that! Now you've done it. Let's get out of here before he calls the cops.
You better run. If I ever catch you around here again, I'll break your legs.
See you, Tommy. Good luck. Yeah, thanks.
Five minutes ago, Tommy's life was comparatively uncomplicated. Now he's suddenly faced with 3 big legal problems. His boss has broken their employment contract by refusing to pay his full salary, and Tommy may have broken the law by taking the job before obtaining a work certificate, and he now may be in deep trouble because of breaking Mr. Soames' window.
That's you slamming the door? You scared me, Tom. Are you all right? What's wrong?
When Mr. Soames gave me my check after work, it was only half of what he owes me.
Half? Let me see the check.
I didn't take it. I told him I want it all.
You should have kept the check, Tom. What was the amount on the check he gave you?
$420. He owes me $840.
Did he say why he only gave you that much?
He said I only did a boy's work, and he was only going to give me a boy's wages. Then he threw me out and fired Jackson when he tried to help me.
What? I'm going to call him. We'll get this straightened out right now.
He's probably gone already.
We'll soon find out.
Soames Sausage Company.
Hello, I'd like to speak to Mr. Soames, please.
This is Soames. What can I do for you?
Mr. Soames, this is Peggy Rutledge. Tommy's mother? He just told me that you refused to pay him this evening, and that you actually threw him out of the building. I'd like to know...
Wait a minute, Mrs. Rutledge. That's a bunch of bull. I did pay him.
But he says the amount on the check was only half of what you owe him.
I paid him all he's going to get, and that's final, lady.
But...
Listen, him and that friend of his, Jackson, threw a rock at my window and hit one of my machines. And he's going to pay for the damages, or I'm going to call the cops. And another thing, he's only 15, and you let him work here all summer without a work certificate. That's against the law, and you and your kid could get into a lot of trouble for that.
Well, you never told me he needed a work certificate.
That's your problem, lady. Now, I've told you how much he's going to get minus the damages. Take it or leave it.
You didn't bother to tell me about a broken window and damaged machine.
I was mad. What are we gonna do now?
I don't know. Maybe we better find someone who can help us.
Yes, Tommy and his mother do need help. They've tried to talk out their problem with Soames, but it did no good. Now they must look to the legal system for help. In many states, it's possible to resolve problems like Tommy's in court without a lawyer by going to the pro se small claims court. Pro se means for yourself without a lawyer. These courts handle cases involving relatively small amounts of money. They use simple rules of procedure which allow individuals to get speedy, inexpensive, and just resolution of small disputes without using a lawyer. Tommy's state has a pro se small claims court, but the maximum amount that can be recovered there is only $500. But sometimes it's not possible to solve a legal problem by yourself. Then it's usually necessary to get help from a lawyer.
Wait a minute. Didn't your friend Frankie Cotter's father have trouble collecting his money when he left his last job?
I don't know, Mom. I think he did, though.
You call his father up and ask him. And if he did, ask him for the name and telephone number of his lawyer.
If you decide you need the services of a lawyer, it's important that you choose carefully. Tommy and his mother are relying on the recommendation of a friend who has had a similar problem, which is usually a very good way of selecting a lawyer, but there are other ways that should be considered as well. Many state and local bar associations have lawyer referral plans. Under these plans, the Bar Association will refer you to competent and reliable lawyers. One of these lawyers will consult with you without charge or for a small fee. And in some communities, there are legal clinics. These legal clinics can assist you on relatively simple matters at rates that are generally lower than those charged by individual lawyers or law firms.
I'd like to make an appointment to see Mr. Clark, please.
But if you can't afford to pay for the services of a lawyer, you may be eligible for free legal assistance. Legal aid offices provide legal services without cost or for a small fee.
Let me do the talking, Tommy. I don't think we should say anything about the work certificate or the broken window. There's no sense muddying the water, okay?
Whatever you say, Mom.
Mr. Clark, this is Mrs. Rutledge and her son, Tommy.
Good morning, Mrs. Rutledge.
How do you do?
Tommy,
Hello?
please have a seat.
Would you like a cup of coffee?
No, thank you.
Now, what can I do for you?
We're having trouble collecting Tommy's wages from his summer job, Mr. Clark.
What seems to be the trouble, Tommy?
Mr. Soames, the man who owns the...
Always be honest with your lawyer. Tell him everything you know about the case, even though it may not seem to be in your favor. And if you don't feel that you can trust or have confidence in the lawyer you've chosen, don't waste your time or money. Find another lawyer.
I tried to talk to Mr. Soames on the phone, but he hung up on me. We don't know what to do now.
Well, based on what you've told me, I think there's a good chance we can reach a settlement with Mr. Soames. I think we should try. However, I can't guarantee anything.
Oh, I understand. I think we want you to do what you can.
Okay, I'll get right on it.
Mr. Clark, I don't know how much you charge for something like this. Will it cost very much? Mr. Soames only owes Tommy $840.
My fee for a case like this is $35 an hour. And based on what you've told me, I don't think it will take more than 1.5 to 2 hours of my time. Now, if Mr. Soames is not cooperative, it may be necessary to take the case to court. That will involve more of my time and some court costs. However, I'll explain and discuss any additional charges with you before they're incurred.
It's good that Mrs. Rutledge has asked about fees. Fees should always be discussed with your lawyer on the very first visit to his office. Many lawyers adjust their fees according to the client's ability to pay. And if it seems that the lawyer's fee is too high, check with other lawyers to find out what they would charge. Fees for the same service may vary from lawyer to lawyer. So it's one factor you should use in choosing a lawyer.
How long do you think it'll be before we have an answer?
Well, that depends. I should know something by the middle of next week, if I have no problem getting in touch with Mr. Soames.
I feel much better now. Thank you very much, Mr. Clark.
I'll keep in touch, and if anything new develops, please let me know. Goodbye, Mrs. Rutledge. Tommy?
Goodbye.
Good morning. May I speak to Mr. Soames, please? My name is Jim Clark. I'm a lawyer, and I represent Tommy Rutledge. I prefer to discuss this matter with him. If he's too busy to speak to me now, I'd be glad to call back, or he can return my call when he's free. Yes, I'll wait.
This is Soames. What do you want?
My name is Jim Clark, Mr. Soames. I represent Tommy Rutledge, and I'd like to...
I don't care who you are, buddy, or who you represent. I don't have anything to say to you.
Mr. Soames, this could be a very serious matter. I'd advise you to have your lawyer call me as soon as possible.
I don't need a lawyer to deal with that little punk, or with you either.
Mr. Soames, I'm sure you don't want this to end up in court any more than we do. You really should have your lawyer call me. My number's 9...
When did this letter from the Rutledge kid's lawyers show up?
This afternoon. Special delivery. This is Mr. Clark's office. Mr. Clark would like to speak with Mr. Soames, please. I see. Well, will you ask Mr. Soames to return the call? Soames Sausage Company.
It's Tommy Rutledge's lawyer.
I'm sorry, he's not in now.
Here, retype this.
There's been a problem with the case. Mr. Soames is not cooperating. He won't answer my phone calls or respond to my letters. But I have called the State Department of Labor to see if you could file a complaint against Soames with them. It's something you should consider. They'll handle Tommy's complaint without any charge. However, they're running 6 months to a year behind in processing claims right now.
I don't think we want to do that. That's too long.
Mrs. Rutledge is trapped. She doesn't want to have any contact with the State Department of Labor. Tommy has been working all summer without a work certificate, and she doesn't want to have them find out about it. And because she hasn't been honest with Mr. Clark, she can't explain her refusal to accept this useful service. So she's using the delay as an excuse.
If Soames isn't responding, what do we do now?
He isn't giving us any choice. We're going to have to consider filing a lawsuit. However, I still hope I can get him to settle before we go to trial.
But wouldn't that take a lot of time and a lot of money, too?
It could take several months. And with my fee, the court cost, and the filing fee, it could cost 1/3 to 1/2 of Tommy's total claim, depending on whether or not I can get Soames to settle or we have to go to trial. That's why it may be a good idea to handle this whole matter through the State Department of Labor. Or you might consider handling the case yourself without a lawyer in small claims court. Because when my fee, the court costs, and the filing fees are deducted, Tommy could end up with the same amount in our lawsuit that he could get by himself in small claims court. However, in any settlement I negotiate with Soames, I would ask that he pay these fees.
Mr. Clark has done the right thing in suggesting these alternatives. He has a responsibility to act competently and honestly on behalf of his client. If he doesn't, he may be disciplined by the court or sued by his client for malpractice.
I don't know what we should do.
Why are you so reluctant, Mrs. Rutledge?
I don't know. I mean, it could take a lot of time and cost a lot of money.
It's up to you, of course, but I think you should follow through on your claim either by going to the Department of Labor or filing suit in court.
I don't know. All right. Guess you better go ahead and file suit against him.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Soames, but this gentleman has something for you.
Are you Wilbur Soames?
Yes. This is for you, sir. What is it? It's a summons for legal action, Mr. Soames.
The Tommy Rutledge thing.
Mr. Clark's office? Yes, he is. I'll tell him you're on the phone, Mr. Soames.
Mr. Clark, Mr. Soames is on the line.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Soames. What can I do for you?
You can call off the dogs. That's what you can do for me. I'll pay the Rutledge kid what he says I owe him. But you tell that little punk that I'm deducting the $118 in damages he caused when he threw that rock at my window. Where do you want me to send the check?
If my client accepts, you should send it to me. But first, I have to explain your offer to Tommy and his mother. It's their decision. Frankly, Mr. Soames, I think they'd be more likely to accept your offer if you were to pay their lawyer's fees and filing fees in court.
Oh, no way, buddy. You tell him I'll give him the $840 less the $118 in damages. But that's it, and I don't want to hear any more about it.
Those damages would come out during trial. So your lack of honesty could have proven disastrous to our case. You should have told me about the broken window. Is there anything else you haven't told me?
Well, yes. Tommy is only 15, and he's been working there all summer without a work permit. Mr. Soames told us we could get into a lot of trouble. I was afraid to tell you.
That's why you were so reluctant to get in touch with the Department of Labor. It doesn't work that way, Mrs. Rutledge. Anything you would have told me would have been strictly confidential information. I couldn't have told anyone else. Anyway, to get back to business, Soames has agreed to settle for the $840 less the damages. He says he won't pay any of my fee or the filing fees in court. That if he knew that Tommy was underage and still allowed him to work without a work certificate, the blame for that is pretty evenly distributed.
He did know. Tommy told him the first day he went to work there.
In that case, I think I can get him to pick up at least part of my fee and the other expenses. But it's up to you, Tommy. It's your money.
I really need the money for some school clothes and to buy my motorcycle if there's enough left. If you could get him to pay part, I think that'd be great.
Good. I'll see what I can do. I think it might turn out all right.
One of the most important jobs of our legal system, and lawyers too, is to help you resolve your disputes peacefully, quickly, and justly. And in most cases it works if you know how to make the best use of it. We've told you a few ways you can cope with the legal system. First, by trying to talk out your problem. And second, if that doesn't work, by trying to handle the problem yourself in small claims court, or through an inexpensive legal clinic if you have one in your town, or by finding out if you're eligible for free legal service. And finally, if you decide you can't handle the problem yourself, we've told you how to find, hire, and use a lawyer when you need professional help. We've told you these things because this information is important to you as a potential consumer of legal services. And because you should know.
you.